Girly Pop Society, you're going to grab your tissue box on this one. And unfortunately, we have to have a big trigger warning on this episode. If you're pregnant, near the end of your pregnancy, maybe it's best to skip this episode and listen later. But if you're here to listen, remember that this is Paige's story and not yours, and this is not happening to you. But if you're here to bravely listen to another woman's story of becoming her, this one deserves a listen. Paige bravely talks about her journey of becoming a mom at 20 years old. She was medically gaslit in a community hospital, not listened to time again and time again. And then she was helicopter transferred and then placed in a medically induced coma for 2 weeks. Hear about her story. And then a decade later, she welcomes her baby number 2 at just 28 weeks gestation. Paige is full of grit, strength, love, and so much power, so much laughter. So hear about the hot paramedic and all of the ups and downs to her journey to motherhood. But like I said, if you need to tune out, we respect that. But if you're here to bravely listen to another woman's story, we would love to have you. We believe a birth story doesn't begin with labor, it begins with her.
Welcome to Girly Pop Birth Talks, where we go beyond the delivery room. Each week, we interview a woman just like you and unlike you about her pregnancy, her birth, and also her becoming, and what led her to the most transformative experience of her life.
So grab a drink, a snack, and cozy up, because around here we go from laughing 1 minute to crying the next.
As we listen to the stories that shape us.
Because birth isn't just about babies. It's about the women who rise in the process. Pedro, welcome to Girly Pop Birth Talks.
Thanks for having me.
Such an honor to talk about your birth stories, your babies, your journey to motherhood.
We're going to start with a mucky tucky.
A mucky, 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 naka, naka. What
just happened? Something just took over your body.
Paige, have you ever had a cocktail?
This will be my first.
Really?
Really?
Well, probably.
Have you ever had a cocktail?
Absolutely.
So this is like a cocktail, but like more fun.
This is what you really look forward to.
Yeah. Like if you ever had a cocktail and you're like, oh my God, I don't feel good. This is what you want to have because you'll feel even better.
Love it.
So this is the orange dreamsicle.
Dreamsicle.
Orange cream Olipop.
Yum.
A little Chobani creamer.
Little Chobani.
And a lemon on top.
And a little lemon. Paigey.
Razzle dazzle.
Razzle dazzle.
Pass it out.
Okay. Our guest first.
Thank you.
My beautiful co-host. Ew.
This is going to be fun.
And Rebecca. Cheers.
Rebecca. Cheers.
So, sip.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Oh, that's delicious.
That is an orange dream.
Yeah, here, you can share a little nightstand.
It's orange dream.
He said it's an orange dream.
It's an orange dream. No one probably can see this little nightstand right here, but this is my grandpa's nightstand, and I like to think that he grew up with it. I don't know when he received it in his lifetime.
But you like to picture like
but
little,
I like
little
to
Tommy.
picture it that like his name is Tommy.
Nuh-uh. I don't know why I just felt like little Tommy was playing with his trinkets.
It was meant to be.
1, 2, 3, 16.
One more time. 1, 2, 3,
23.
Oh shit. Paige, try. Ready? 1, 2, 3,
22.
13. Oh,
Okay, we're off.
it's fine. Pretend like it didn't happen.
Well,
okay.
I'm already crying.
It's time to get a little bit serious.
Okay.
Paige, honored to have you today.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here.
So excited to hear your birth stories.
Mm-hmm.
To our lovely viewers, we do want to give a trigger warning because some of these stories may feel a little hard to hear, but it's important that when we listen to birth stories that we listen and we have to remember that it's not happening to you. But if you're in the middle of carrying your baby, preparing to birth, maybe it's best to skip this episode and come back to another time. But if you're here with a compassionate heart, and you're at a safe place in your own life, I invite you to listen because it's full of power, and I'm honored to hear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So first, we're going to go all the way back. So you were born in 93.
Yep.
Just like me.
Oh, wow. Sorry. Didn't know I was with such old ladies today.
Wow.
What year were you born?
97?
97. I was
Yeah.
going to say 2000 to make it more ridiculous, but I didn't want to lie.
I wondered why you paused. That was
Because I was thinking.
She's like, am I going to make a joke right
Can
now?
can I lie?
Yeah. Okay. 93. What was your mom's birth story with you? Like just the short version. What did you hear? If you heard anything, did your mom talk about it?
She did talk about it. I've heard my birth story. I was very large and in charge.
That's my girl.
I was almost 10 pounds. I think I was 9'8" or 9'10". She went all natural, powerful. And I think she was discharged like really quick after she had me. Pretty easy. I think she tore, but she had me. And
That's her
Okay.
pelvic
Yeah.
floor, not mine.
True.
Okay, and then growing up in the 90s and in the 2000s, we're in that like cusp of
Yeah.
like when did we grow up? But what did you hear about birth? Like when did you first start thinking about birth?
I honestly never thought about it until probably we learned about it in anatomy in high school. I think junior year. Never crossed my mind. Was not like, I don't know, it just like didn't feel like, not that it wasn't important, but just like it wasn't something that I was the last baby. So like I didn't see my mom have another baby, and there wasn't like a lot of people around having babies, I guess. But I mean, yeah, I didn't really think much about birth until
It was time.
it was time to give it, and I was scared.
Okay. So what were you like? What was your like growing up like? You're the baby of the family.
I'm the baby, and
Okay.
not arguably the funniest.
Okay.
That's real.
No, I had like a pretty classic childhood. We grew up at the end of a cord, and lots of time spent out playing with our neighbors, and we used to call them late nights in the court, and we would like hang out late after dark.
Mm.
And so that was fun. My dad was a police officer and my mom was a nurse, so I had like good examples to look up to of hardworking parents. I never had like daycare or anything. They always were able to split their schedules so that one of them was always home with me. So my mom, I think until I was in 8th grade or so, worked night shift on the weekends, and my dad usually worked during the week. And so I always had one of my parents with me, and yeah, it was really nice. I had a good upbringing.
Sounds like a good old American.
Yes,
Grew up in
exactly.
a court in the 90s.
Yep.
The
With
cop
the-
and a nurse.
Yeah. So
I
cute.
love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you graduated high school in, was it 11?
Yep.
Okay, me too. So what happened from there as far as like your relationship? I don't know when that came
So
about.
it was shortly after graduation, and we were together for a while, and then ended up having our first my first child together. He was in the Army, and I ended up moving to Kansas, and we lived there for, I don't know, 8 or 9 months, and then we got moved to Southern California. It's called Fort Irwin. I don't know if you guys have ever driven to Las Vegas before,
Yes.
but there's an exit. Do you know where Barstow is?
I recognize that.
So you drive past Barstow, and then there's one little exit. It's called Fort Irwin, and it's literally a 30-mile road
Wow.
to where you get to the Army base, and there's nothing
I'm
there.
picturing nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing on the road, and there's nothing at the base.
I
And
forgot
that's
to ask, where did you grow up? So where'd you live
In
first?
Tracy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Not far.
like an hour and a half
Yeah.
from here. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So Tracy and then
Kansas, and then Fort Irwin,
Good old Fort Irwin.
the desert.
is that where you got pregnant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So we were living there when I got pregnant. And there's
Little desert
nothing
dream.
nothing great about it.
Nothing to share.
Nope, nothing eventful there.
The story's pretty dry.
Literally. Yes, there's like to get to Target, it was 45 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Ridiculous.
So did your whole pregnancy happen in Fort Irwin? Is that
Mhm.
where you
Yep.
delivered?
Yep.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Yes, we'll get to that. And your mom lived near you?
No, so
Oh,
she
okay.
lived in Tracy still. They
Oh.
still live there. So
Okay.
they've been there for a long time, but I would go and visit them all the time. I mean, I just got used to the drive. It's like
Yeah.
6-7 hours,
Wow.
but
So was the hospital on Fort
it was on the base.
Irwin?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, what? It's a military hospital.
It's a military hospital. Yep.
Okay. And do they have a trauma center, or is it just like a community hospital?
It's a community hospital. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
But
This is leading. This
so
is giving
Fort
good.
Irwin it's called the National Training Center. And so with like the Iraq War and Afghanistan War, that's where everyone would go before they were deployed out. And they would spend a month there. And they would go out into the field. And it's like they had all of these fake cities, and then the people who were stationed there, a lot of them were like they would role play essentially as the
Mhm.
enemy, and so then they would go out and practice out in the field. And so probably should have been a trauma center because people definitely got hurt, but it was also a pretty close flight range to Las Vegas, which has good hospitals. So
Okay. So how long were you living there before you found out you were pregnant, and how did you find out?
I don't know how long we were there. I feel like we maybe moved there in October, and then I'm pretty sure I found out I was pregnant maybe the very beginning of the year, like January 1st or 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
So not very long. We weren't there for very long before we found out. And then how did I find out I was pregnant? I had been gagging. Starting like Thanksgiving Day,
Oh.
I started gagging. Like wouldn't throw up, nothing, just was having gagging. And finally my mom, she's like, something could be wrong, like with your stomach or something. You should just go. So I went to the doctors, and they just kind of said, oh, maybe you should take a pregnancy test. When was your last cycle? Whatever. They sent me on my way. And I went home and I took a pregnancy test and it was positive.
It's probably very dark. Like, was it you found out kind of late? You know what I mean?
I think it was. I don't know. I don't remember the details of
timelines are
like,
weird.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's so long ago too.
Mhm.
So I'm not exactly sure how dark it was, but definitely was quickly positive.
Yes.
It was a for sure test.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So when was your son due?
I think my due date was September 8th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aw. I'm a September baby.
Are you?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert, he was not born in September.
Just cut that out, Kyle.
Never mind. Just
Never mind.
We're stupid. Okay. So let's get into the birth story, Becca.
Yeah. So you find out you're pregnant, super obvious. Your first symptoms gagging. Tell me, like, go back in your life. Like, what does life look like? What are your emotions when you find out you're pregnant? Who'd you tell first?
Well, I told my at the time husband first. He was there. And then I remember my mom was like calling because she had known that I went to the doctor, and had texted her and was like, oh, they told me to take a pregnancy test. And I remember she was like calling. I was like, oh my God, just like give me a minute to like process.
Yeah.
And then I told my parents after.
So did you cycle between November and January?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
Yeah.
You were so busy in Fort Irwin doing so many exciting things. How
I
could
was
you remember those
also
things?
so young.
Yeah, how old
like
were you?
I was 19.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't like
Yeah.
like
Thinking about
now
those
I know
things.
exactly what day I
Yeah.
am in my
Legal
cycle.
phase. Yeah.
Follicular.
Yeah.
Like I know it
You're
all
an
now.
expert.
Yeah. I didn't know anything back then.
Yeah.
So there just also wasn't a lot of like now there's information overload. Like you
Mhm.
can find an app to like track
Mhm.
anything
Yeah.
nowadays. So
Mhm.
there wasn't that back then either.
Yeah.
So
You can wear a ring that's gold plated that can tell you your basal temperature.
I know.
Like, how cool is that?
Your basil, like your oregano temperature?
Is it not called that?
So silly.
Sorry.
When when I was younger, before I like knew things, and I still don't know anything, but I was like, what is a basal temperature? And people were like, oh, like I do natural family planning, I take my temperature. I literally thought people were sticking thermometers up their vajays to like, in a certain temperature meant that you were like, which I was kind of on the right
Kind
track,
of right.
but completely wrong at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, a ring? Then I thought your ring was in your vagina. It was a whole.
Oh, wait, you just got that ring like a year ago.
No, Ariel, just like.
Were you like, okay?
I lost it. Okay.
Moving on. Anyway, so
Anywho.
19, pregnant.
So you're 19, you're pregnant.
Yep.
What was like your mom's reaction to finding out you're pregnant and being 6 hours away at 19 years old?
I think it was mixed. I think she was excited for me because I felt excited. I think she was also nervous for me just because I was so young
Yeah.
and just starting my life. And so I think it was mixed. But overall, she was happy for me and excited.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as far as being far, she was not happy
Yeah.
about being so far away. But
Yeah.
it was what it was.
Yeah. How was the pregnancy?
It was pretty easy. Like, I don't remember, the only thing that I had issues with was gagging the whole time. I gagged my entire pregnancy. They gave me an antacid. I took it. I lived on Tums. They didn't do anything.
I was going to say,
but
did that help?
No,
Yeah.
but I took it, and yeah, it didn't help though, for sure. But other than that, it was, I think, a pretty routine pregnancy from what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the birth. So tell me about, if you can remember, like early labor, how did things start? Who's around?
So we actually, in Fort Irwin, had lots of rolling power outages. And so our power would go out for like 2 or 3 days. And so when I was nearing the end of my pregnancy, it was August and we're in the desert and it's like 115 degrees
Oh my gosh.
outside. And some of our close friends, they were like, oh, we're going to go. They had family in San Bernardino, which was like an hour and a half or 2 hours away. And so they were going to go stay at my friend Veronica's parents' house. And so we were like, okay, we'll come with you. They invited us to go. And so we went down there and we went to dinner. And I remember being at dinner, we were eating at Lucille's barbecue.
Special.
And
you're super pregnant.
yeah, I'm like, I think 2 weeks away from my due date. Maybe 3 weeks. No, it was 2 weeks for sure. And so we were eating dinner and I started feeling like some sharp tightness in my belly, and I'm now 20 years old. I'm like, I don't know what labor feels like, but something was happening. And so we ate dinner and then we were walking around the shops and it was kind of getting worse, but then would slow down. So it's like, maybe it's nothing, like probably Braxton Hicks. I had no idea. So then we went back to their parents' house, and I remember going to bed or trying to go to bed, and I couldn't sleep because it was getting worse and worse and worse. And I tried getting up because I was reading, Googling as we do. And I was like, if you get up and walk around and it stops, then it's probably not labor. And I was getting up and it was not stopping. And so I was like, okay, I think we should go to the hospital. So we're in San Bernardino where there's lots of hospitals, But I was dead set. I was like, I want to go to where I know, where my doctor might be.
Mm-hmm.
I did not want to stay there. So we got in the car, drove 2 hours back home.
In labor?
In labor.
Wow.
Go straight to the hospital. And I think I got checked and I was 2 or 3. And they monitored me for an hour and I hadn't progressed. And so they sent me home to our house with no AC.
Oh.
And so I was like, this is torture. Like, why wouldn't they just keep me? Like, you're in labor, you're hot.
Mm-hmm.
I remember getting in the bathtub, like filling it with cold water, just like laying in cold water because I was so hot.
Yeah.
And after a few hours, I was like, we need to go back and I'm just gonna demand.
And the hospital, I'm guessing, had
Power. Yeah, I think they must have had generators or whatever.
And had you, just to rewind a little bit, had you done any like birth education?
Yeah, I was wondering.
Any like, okay,
I mean, I think I read What to Expect When You're Expecting.
it's a classic.
So, yeah, I read
But
that.
your mindset was like, I'm going to go to the hospital and my baby's going to come. There wasn't more thoughts of like, I want an epidural or I want a cesarean.
Oh, I knew I wanted an epidural.
Okay.
That was for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't also, like, I'll get into it, but I also didn't know, like when I got admitted, when we went back, I got admitted.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I want my epidural.
Yeah.
Like, I was ready. I wanted it as soon as
Mhm.
I got admitted. And I was young and I didn't have the education to know that, like, getting an epidural so soon is gonna hinder my laboring process. And I don't think that I necessarily had, like, I feel like now you see stuff and read stuff of, you know, it doesn't matter if you have an epidural, we can move you into all these different positions.
Mhm.
I was on my back for 8 hours.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
no, they didn't
No
move
peanut
me.
ball.
No, nothing.
Mhm.
Nothing. And I don't know if peanut balls were even used
Yeah, I don't know.
that long ago,
Mhm.
10 years ago, 12
Mhm.
years ago. So I don't know, but no, I got admitted. I got an epidural. I was happy. My labor progressed quickly. I mean, it didn't like super slow it down. And by, I think, 6 that night, I started pushing.
Wow, that is a really fast.
Yeah.
So it's like 24 hours from when things kind
Yeah.
of started.
And so then I started pushing, and I had my son's dad in the room and also my mom.
So your mom flew in or drove in?
Her and my dad. So once we started driving back to the army base, her and my dad started driving down. They like got up, and I was like, I don't know if it's really it. And they're like, we're just coming. And I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they came. And I started pushing, and I was pushing, and I was pushing, pushing. And at like 4 hours,
Wow.
they finally, my mom is like, she was a pediatric ICU nurse. So she, you know, she knows her stuff. And she's like, this is going on a long time. And then they could see the baby. Like, he was close, but he was stuck on my pelvic bone, I guess. I'm not sure. Because I remember my mom was like, he has red hair.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Just get him out.
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
He's not in my arm, so.
Yeah.
So glad you could see.
I even tore. Like, I didn't end up
Wow.
delivering vaginally, and I still had tearing somehow.
Oh, I am so sorry for your recovery. You got the double whammy.
You'll come to find out.
It's true. We weren't even thinking about that. We weren't even worried about it.
So after 4 hours, they saw a bunch of meconium come out, and he started having DSATs and decided to take me for a C-section, a stat C-section. So everything started moving pretty quickly. I remember going into the OR, and they don't bring your partner in right away. They, you know, try to get everything prepped and make sure you're ready to go, so that they just bring them in right as they're ready to start the surgery. And I remember the anesthesiologist, it was a woman, and I remember she was like really having a hard time getting me numb enough, which you're a redhead, so you have the same genes
They have
as
to know.
me. Yeah.
Yep. We're mutants.
Yeah. And so she's like, I feel like she had a popsicle stick, like a broken popsicle stick, and was using the rough side. And I remember like she was rubbing it all over my tummy, and I kept being able to feel it. So she was giving me more and more and more. Finally, I couldn't feel anything that they were touching me with. And so they brought in my partner, and they start cutting, and I started screaming. I said, that hurts, that hurts, that hurts. And the doctor said, are you sure that it's not just pressure? And I was like, you are hurting me. Like, it hurts. It's pain. No doubt. And the anesthesiologist, I just remember hearing her say, I'm putting her under, and they put a mask on me, and they kicked out my ex.
Wow.
And I remember waking up in the recovery room just with my mom, no baby. And I remember asking, you know, where's my baby? And he was born floppy because of probably the anesthetic that they had to give me, but also he had meconium and he had aspirated. And So he was intubated and very quickly flown to a different hospital where he could have higher level of care. There was no NICU.
So when you woke up, your baby wasn't even in the hospital with
No,
you?
he was still
Okay.
in the hospital, but
Soon
somewhere
after.
else. Yeah.
Okay. And then he was flown somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I remember once the flight team got there, they had re-intubated him because apparently they didn't have the breathing tube down all the way.
Oh my gosh.
But during my C-section, apparently I had to be put on pressors to keep my blood pressure up because it was tanking so bad. But they didn't really question that. And I remember having horrible gas pain in my neck and shoulder when I woke up. And I didn't know it was gas pain until probably 3 years ago. I was like, when I was reading about it, I was like, that's probably
What it was.
And it was 100% gas pains, but it was horrible. But then they rolled in my baby in the isolette. He was intubated, and I got to see him very briefly. And then they took him to another hospital, and my dad and his dad went with the baby. They had to drive, they couldn't fly with him. And then my mom stayed with me.
What are you feeling at this moment? Like, are you just like, oh, this was not the plan, but
I just was really disconnected. I was not, I don't know. I don't remember crying, which is surprising, but I think I was in shock a little bit, like just like, wow, this is not what you think of when you have a baby.
Yeah.
And so luckily his NICU stay was really short, but for me, one strong memory, the day, I mean, he was born at 11:13 p.m. on August 30th. So then the next day, the 31st, the morning, I remember my doctor coming in, doing his, rounds. And he said, "Where's the baby?"
Wow.
Wow.
And I was like, "Were you not there?"
You didn't read the chart before you walk in here?
"Where's the baby?"
How
And
harsh.
Yeah.
are we allowed to swear on this show?
Yeah.
100%.
He was an asshole. Like, from the minute before I even had the C-section, he was an asshole.
He was the one who did your C-section?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And he wasn't my, like, doctor who gave me all of my prenatal care. He just was the person on call, unfortunately for me, when I went into labor. So yeah, he asked me, "Where's the baby?" I was like, okay, well, he's not here. He had to get flown out and whatever. And then he proceeded to tell me, and I'm by myself,
Oh my gosh.
that he shredded my uterus.
Oh my gosh, Paige. Did he use those words?
Yes, shredded. I shredded your uterus, getting your baby out, and I had to suture it back up together. In 6 months, you're going to have to go and have a study done to see if it's leaking.
Oh.
He just like drops it on me, and I'm 20 years old.
Yes.
Freshly postpartum, don't know anything. And I was just like, okay, great.
I'm picturing like a uterus going through a paper shredder. That's what I'm picturing.
I think like he was like,
But
they
like,
were
why?
trying.
Did they lose the baby during the C-section, or they just?
He was just really not doing well, and I think I was not doing well either. And so I think they were just really trying to
get the baby out.
Get me closed up.
I mean, what a
horrible word.
Yes,
shredded.
Right. But just to be like,
shredded your uterus.
Shredding your uterus. Sorry about that.
As a child.
Yeah.
20 years old.
Yeah.
With a whole life ahead.
Yeah.
What a dick. No,
Yes.
but like so inconsiderate.
Yeah. Just really poor bedside manner.
Yes.
The baby's not in the room.
Nope.
Now you're questioning, can I have more kids?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't
and what
even...
does a leaking uterus even mean? Is what I'd be thinking
what
about.
is what do I do? Like,
Yeah.
where is it
Where's
leaking
it going to be leaking into?
Yeah. So many questions. But also, like, I just didn't have the, like,
Oh my God. I know. It's shocking.
mental capacity to even think of those things.
No.
I was just like, okay, my uterus got shredded. Great.
Add it to the list.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so my son, his name's Blake, he was only in the NICU for 2 days, but the whole time I was in the hospital, I was throwing up like old blood. They call it coffee ground emesis, and so it looks like coffee grounds after like you've used them. And my mom being an ICU nurse is like not good. Alarms are going off. Something is wrong. So she kept showing the nurses and saying, you know, we need to show the doctor. What is the doctor saying? And the doctor,
The same one, Dr. Dick.
Dr. Dick,
Yes.
he was saying that, oh, it's just from the C-section. Like, it's fine. And my mom's like, GI system, reproductive system, like, these are two separate, like, that doesn't, not
Makes
adding
sense.
up.
Yeah.
And they just kept brushing it off. Like, I couldn't eat anything without throwing up. And every time they would bring me ice to put on like my C-section, I was putting it up high, like right under my boobs.
Because that's where it was
That's
feeling
where I was having tons of pain.
wow.
And my mom just kept saying like, that's weird. And I'm like, yeah, it's a little weird, but you know, whatever. Sure, sent me home. So after my baby got discharged, he came to the hospital with me, and I think he was there 1 or 2 nights with me, and then we went home.
That's a fast turnaround for Blake.
Yeah, he was.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got really lucky with him that he didn't have, you know, he was actually followed by early intervention for a year just because he qualified for it. And yeah, he never really had a need for it. He did really well. But so I went home. I think I went home on a Thursday, and then on Friday, you know, I still can't even eat just plain toast and water without throwing up.
Do you remember if your milk ever came in?
It did. But I wasn't like, I wasn't feeling good. And I remember my mom was like really trying hard to help me breastfeed because he had gone to the NICU. I wasn't really pumping. So he got formula right away. And my mom had like some butterfly like tubing, and she was like taping it to my boob and trying to like give him formula through a syringe through the tube while I was trying to breastfeed. So he was stimulating me, and I just remember being like, oh my God, this is so much happening. Like I don't feel good.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hold the baby. Like
I was gonna ask, how was
my
that?
stomach hurt. I was in so much pain. And I also, he never, for like the first probably 3 months of his life, it just didn't feel like he was mine. I didn't get to witness his birth. And like we were obviously, I had a lot going on, but he didn't feel like, I couldn't
like connect.
Like I didn't feel like, okay, this is my baby. You know, like people have this like immediate, it just felt we were separated immediately. So that was hard. But so I was home, and it's Friday, and my mom's like, you need to call the doctor and tell them, you know, you can't even eat a bland diet. So I call, and they're like, yeah, the doctor's saying, you know, just keep trying to eat a bland diet. And if you're still having these issues, come in on Monday. So I'm like, okay. And my mom and dad had been planning to go home back to Tracy that day. And I just remember telling my mom, like, please stay. Please stay. I need you to stay. And so she stayed, and my dad left. And he's like, I'll come pick you up or whatever. So he went home. And then Saturday comes around, and I remember sitting on my bed. It was the morning, and I think we had just changed the baby or something, and I threw up. And this time it was fresh, bright red, thick blood. And then I passed out on my bed.
Wow.
And my mom's like, we need to go to the hospital. And I was like, I am not going back to that hospital. I'm not going to the hospital. She's like, I'm going to call 911 and you can go in the ambulance, or you can just let us take you to the hospital. And so I was like, fine. So we get in the car, get to the hospital. I could barely walk. I was like probably white as a ghost. They gave me oxygen right away. And then I remember they couldn't stick me. Like they couldn't get blood, they couldn't get an IV. So I remember the anesthesiologist came in, and he was the one who had given me my epidural. He wasn't the one in my C-section. But he had to numb my arm before he could like do anything. And so then finally they get blood. My hemoglobin was 4. which is like really low. I think it's
Should
supposed
be,
to
like,
be
12 point something is
Yeah.
low, but
Yeah.
like 13
Yeah.
to 15.
so
A blood
So-
transfusion's like 9
Yeah. So
or something like that.
where was your blood?
yeah,
4?
exactly. And
oh
I
my
had
gosh.
no
And you were nursing a baby.
I had no postpartum bleeding.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
So my hemoglobin is 4. My mom's like, she needs blood.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we don't have any.
Oh.
So imagine if I had crashed in my C-section. They had 0 blood to give
What
me.
is their plan?
Yeah.
What's their plan?
So they order blood,
At a training base.
0 blood. And I think I'm B negative, so I don't think that's like super rare or anything.
Mm-mm.
But they had no blood to give me. So they order blood from another hospital. And it gets there 2 hours later.
Oh my gosh.
2 units of blood. That's all they ordered for me. And my mom's like, she needs a CAT scan. Like, we need to do something. Somebody was there actually working on their CAT scan machine because it wasn't working. Something was wrong with it.
Your
Paige,
poor
this is a
mom.
nightmare.
My
I know. I'm thinking
mom-
of your mom the whole time.
So we're in the emergency room at this hospital, right? And she's on her phone the whole time. And I'm like, I remember feeling so irritated. Like, why is she's never on her phone? I'm
Mhm.
like, why is she on her phone? And she's like, I'm literally she was texting doctors up here that she
Mhm.
knew,
Mhm.
like, what do I do? And they're like, you need to get her out of that hospital, but she also needs fluids and blood that they're giving her, so you can't just take her,
Right.
but you need to get her moved. And so finally something happens with the CAT scan, and they're like, okay, we can do it. And so they do it, and they find that I have an ulcer. So now we know, okay, this is what's causing the issues. And I need to be transferred somewhere. And so the search is on. And so Las Vegas Hospital, which was the closest flying distance hospital for me to go to, accepted my case. And so they're getting ready to fly me there. And literally, like a movie, a lightning storm starts. Thunder and lightning over the mountains
Just
to Las
Keeps
Vegas.
going.
So they couldn't fly me there. So now they're like, okay.
I'm stressed.
No, I'm sweating.
Now they're like, okay, we got to find somewhere else. And so then the next hospital that said they would take me was Riverside Community Hospital. And so they're like getting everything ready and paperwork, whatever. And then my mom finds out that there's no doctor that's going to be on the flight. And she's like, this is not good. A paramedic is not equipped to handle this.
Mm-mm.
And so the anesthesiologist who had done my epidural and then had, gotten a stick in me finally was like, you know what? I'll go with her. I will fly. And he got a baggie of meds and he laid them all out for my mom and showed her, this is everything I'm taking on board. Like, we got her.
This is so, like, what the hell, 1940s bullshit.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I'm going to take a baggie of crash meds just in case.
I mean, it's better than
Not
not having the
the
crash
only person
meds. Yeah.
at this hospital that I'm okay with at
Yes,
this moment.
he was fantastic.
How are you in
Yeah.
this? Like,
Are
what?
you even
I was-
aware?
Are you still disassociated? Where's your baby?
He was with his dad. We were all 4 of us technically in the ER. So, and I think he might have taken the baby home for a while. I think we were the only ones in the emergency room. Like,
What?
it's small.
Ugh.
It's very
Nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good you were getting all the care,
I was barely hanging on.
but yeah.
Like, at a certain point that I was in the ER, I had paddles on my chest.
my
My
gosh,
heart rate was
Paige.
over 180, and they were going to shock me to get me back into a rhythm. Like, I was not super with it.
Do you remember any thoughts that you had?
Yeah, I remember being excited to go on the helicopter.
That is not what I was expecting. I thought you were gonna be like, it was nice to know my baby for a couple days.
Well,
Like, this is when
no,
I go.
No, I was excited for the helicopter. That was like one thought, and another
She was hanging
thought.
on, kids.
Another thought was, wow, this paramedic is kind of hot.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
That's everything we need to know.
But
about
I
Paige.
also remember telling my ex-husband, I remember telling him, because I always would ask, like, how can I get a ride? on a helicopter. Like I was
Oh.
really like fixated as soon as we moved there.
So
I was
you
like, these are
manifested
cool.
this for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. And he was like, you're gonna have to get bit by a rattlesnake
Oh my
to
gosh.
get flown out. And I was like, okay. And then
Just like rattlesnake
I
hunting.
remember telling him like, look, I got on the
Yeah, that's
helicopter.
So, hold my beer.
Literally. Rattlesnake? No.
Take
This
that,
is
way,
almost die.
way more dramatic. Yeah. So,
Oh my God.
yeah, I mean, I still had a sense of humor, which is good.
That is
you know?
great.
Like, so
I
I
bet your mom was like dripping sweat.
oh, she was a mess, rightfully. She had too much information,
Yes.
which
Thank God for her.
saved my life.
Yes.
Ultimately,
Yes.
If she hadn't been there, I probably would have died
At home.
home
like-
or at that hospital.
Yes, but I'm picturing you 20 years old. I don't know if you had a lot of friends, but you said you didn't see a lot of
we
births.
had-
Like,
yeah,
you know,
I was
know.
clueless.
Yes. So you are in your first postpartum and there's no one telling you like this is not how it's supposed to feel. This is
Yeah.
not how it's supposed to go.
You are dying.
Yeah. There was
As
no
you're
one.
being medically gaslit by
Yes.
Yeah.
so-and-so physicians.
Like
Yeah.
I'm shocked because I, as a dietitian, remember the training on coffee ground emesis. Like this is an emergency, and I'm not someone who could do anything about that. If my patient throws
Yeah.
up, I have to go get the nurse
Call 911
or the doctor.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, if they're in the hospital,
right.
yeah.
You go get the nurse
Yeah.
or the doctor. And so I'm just shocked that they're hearing coffee ground emesis over, and they're seeing it,
Yeah.
and they're like,
And I've never, and I don't know everything, but I've never heard that as a side effect
of
of a
C-section.
cesarean.
because
No.
it's
Cesarean, sorry. Cesarean.
It's a cesarean.
So I
From
knew
her writing a
nothing.
song
I
here.
didn't have the information to advocate for myself. And so yeah, it was
Thank
not
you, Mom.
Yes, thank you, Mom.
We gotta like tribute this episode to her.
Mhm.
Seriously.
What's her name?
Thea.
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 Thank you, Thea.
We love you, Thea.
We do.
Thea.
Thea is our lifesaver.
Dorothea.
Dorothea. I love that name.
It's kind of cute.
Yeah.
I love it.
Dorothea.
Dorothea lost 10 years of her life that day,
Literally.
but
That
she would do it
few
again.
days. So
Mhm.
I get to Riverside Community Hospital alone
Mm.
because they had to drive.
And this community hospital had
I'm triggered by the
means?
words community
me too.
hospital.
I'm
Are we
like, no,
safe
she's
here?
the trauma center.
We need Grace Sloan Memorial.
Yeah. I needed Meredith. I needed someone. I don't know like what level trauma center they are, but it was, I mean, it worked out.
You're here to
Great.
tell
I'm
the
here.
story.
Better
Yeah.
than Irwin.
Yes.
With Dr. Dick.
That hospital is called Weed Army Community Hospital.
Bad
So,
vibes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna leave them a bad Google review after this.
Maybe they're better now. We can hope.
Yeah.
So I'm there alone in the ER, and you know,
How was your ride?
sick. I got to wear headphones.
Did they talk to you through it?
I could not hear anything. I was laying down. I was
My
on a
hemoglobin was
stretcher.
full, Becca.
Yeah. I got
It was ringing.
barely there.
But you're like, I'm in a helicopter. I could die now.
I remember it was like a little scary when we got there. I remember there was like a big ramp that we had to like roll the gurney down to like
Oh
get into
my.
the ER. And I just remember being like, oh my God, this is a lot.
Wow.
So we get there, and I don't remember too much of being in the ER. I remember my mouth being really dry, and they gave me these like swabs that had like flavoring in them that I could like rub on my cheeks to just like,
But you couldn't have any
they were
fluids?
not giving me fluids because I assumably needed a surgery.
Yeah.
So, and then I remember they brought me for another CAT scan, and I got to drink contrast, which
Oh.
tasted nasty.
Yeah.
But I
were
remember
so
I was
happy.
like, oh my God, I get to drink something. Thank God.
Were you still throwing up blood at this point?
Little bits. I don't think there was much to come out. I don't know. I don't remember still
Mhm.
vomiting. I remember gagging, and every time I would start gagging, my blood pressure would tank because
Mm.
the pressure of gagging then is making this
blood,
ulcer
yeah.
bleed
Mhm.
more. So,
And you've had the 2 units of blood
yeah.
by now. You had
Yeah.
that in the helicopter.
No, I had it at the
hospital,
hospital
and they
while we're
transferred, okay.
waiting to figure out where I'm going. So I have the CAT scan, and then I remember they had promised that there was a GI doctor there waiting for me on call. And I didn't see him, but he reviewed, I think a trauma surgeon actually was who reviewed my CAT scan and said it was unimpressive. Like, it's not, we need to fix it right now. He's like, okay. So they moved me to surgical ICU because they know, okay, she's going to need a surgery and I needed higher level of care. So they put me there and they're like, okay, we need to put an NG tube in, which is essentially a tube that goes through your nose into your stomach to start draining,
Nasogastric.
yeah, whatever is in there. And my mom, knowing I have a horrible gag reflex, is like, no, she's going to start gagging. It's not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Her blood pressure is going to tank. And they were like, we have to do it. And I remember them giving me, this is like a pro tip for you ladies, alcohol pads. Smelling them
Makes you not gag, right?
helps with nausea and
Okay.
gagging. So I remember smelling them, and I remember my mom was holding them, and I would tell her, like, okay, I need a different end of the pad. Like, you need to turn it. This
Make
one
it
doesn't
stronger.
smell anymore. And so they start putting the tube in, and everything went sour. I started hemorrhaging from my nose and my bottom. Lots of blood. Lots of blood. I remember laying in a puddle of blood and telling my mom, please clean me up. Please clean me up. I feel gross. Just like, we're not worried about cleaning you up right now. Like, we're trying to keep you alive. And I remember feeling like I was drowning. Like, I kept saying, get me away from the water. And then they put me in a coma. I took 25 units of blood, which I wrote it down, but I think that a average female holds 9 to 10 units of blood. So I bled out essentially twice, and they were slamming the blood into me. So they put me in a coma, they intubated me, they gave me paralytics, and they were still doing skin to skin. They would bring my baby into the ICU and they would lay him on my chest, and they were like, he would just go to sleep, which is really special. And when I first recovered, seeing the pictures of it was really hard to see because I look so sickly. But I think it's a really special thing to have now and look back and be like, wow, we did that. But anyways, the GI doctor then came and did an endoscopy and saw what he thought was my ulcer, and injected it with medication to try to clot the bleeding, stop the bleeding, whatever. And it ended up that was pancreas, actually, not the ulcer. It was just such a mess in my abdomen, so that didn't work. And then the next day, the trauma doctor, the trauma surgeon who had seen me in the ER, he told my parents, I got this. I'm going to get my partner. We're going to do the surgery. We're going to get our own team. We're not just going in with, the assigned OR nurses and whatever. Like, we're putting together a team and we're going to figure out what's going on. And my belly was huge. From when they did the endoscopy, they had put in lots of gas or air to blow it up to try and see what's going on. And so they weren't sure if it was still air or if there was a bunch of blood. They didn't know what they were going into. And so they took me in for essentially exploratory surgery. And when they cut my belly, he said it was like a balloon deflating. It was just a bunch of air in there, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
And so they cut my stomach from like here to my belly button. And they did essentially a gastric bypass surgery, and they removed my gallbladder as well. It was a perforated duodenal ulcer, and I completely lost my duodenum, which is what your stomach drains into.
You still don't have it?
No.
Oh my gosh.
No. So they brought up my jejunum, which is the next part of your small intestines, to take the place of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to cut part of my stomach, so it was smaller. And yeah, then I was in the ICU recovering. I think I was in a coma for like 2 weeks almost, and it took a long time for me to wake up, come off all the meds. They weren't sure if I was gonna wake up because I had been down. Like, I was down for 2 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
So I was on cooling mattresses, like, they didn't know mentally, like, if I was gonna be a vegetable, for lack of better terms. But I woke up, and I remember the first time that I was awake for them to do, like, a dressing change. My mom was with me at the time, and I remember looking down at it, 'cause once I was awake, I didn't ask what happened to me, like, nothing. Didn't ask any questions. I was just, like, fighting to
Stay awake.
and be there and whatever, and, so I looked down at my incision, and I looked at my mom, and I said, "I can't be a Victoria's Secret model anymore." And she was like, as soon as you said that, I was like,
She's fine.
"Oh, thank God." Oh, thank God, she's gonna be fine.
Oh my, that paramedic is never gonna come back for me.
She was like, whew. And then, things went up from there. I had drains. I was discharged from the hospital with drains in. While I was in a coma, they were pumping my milk and were able to give it to my baby. One of the lactation ladies at the hospital had done lots of research on all the meds that I was on and kind of gave them the go-ahead, which was really cool thing about that hospital. Like, they were very pro-mother, pro-breastfeeding, whatever. And so even though I was in the hospital, not for birth or, postpartum, they were still taking care of my family and making sure that my baby was taken care of, which was amazing. But yeah, that was that.
Wow.
Yeah.
No words.
Yeah. And they also said that if I hadn't been as young as I was, I probably wouldn't have been able to bounce back the way I did.
Yeah. I'm really stuck on the like hemorrhaging part and just
How scary.
yeah, for how you were like, clean me up. Like, that just shows me how not there you were.
But also I knew like
you knew something was happening.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking what makes me emotional is like your mom's perspective. Like you are her baby and you were a baby. Like you were so young. And you sent the pictures. I haven't showed Becca yet, but where Blake is just like on you and you're passed out. And that also I'm just thinking of your mom's perspective of like seeing her baby with her baby. And like none of it was supposed to be this way.
No. Yeah. And when she like went back home and went to go back to work, she couldn't do it. And she took, I think, 6 months off and then tried to go back again and still. So she retired.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she couldn't do it after that. She said she like had lost her wall that she was able to put up previously, and she was like, I couldn't do it anymore.
I don't know if I could recover.
So lots of PTSD
for everybody.
Yes,
pass it around
for everyone that was there. Yeah.
Wow.
So what was like the next, because there's a pretty big age
10
there.
years, right?
10
A
years.
decade.
Yeah. So
What was like the healing of that?
Choice to do it again.
I mean, the
How'd you
choice
get
to
there?
do it again, I wanted a normal experience, which I think is logical to want.
Yeah.
My husband really wanted children of his own, and I wanted to have children with him too. And so we just decided, okay, let's do it. And so our first pregnancy we had was called a molar pregnancy, which is not a viable pregnancy. Typically, it's when 2 sperm fertilize the same egg, and then it just creates a cluster of cells that develops into a mass, and it can become cancerous and scary. So we had that and dealt with that and the loss and, grieving that. And it took us a while after we got pregnant pretty fast for that pregnancy. And then I think it took us about 6 or 7 months to get pregnant with my now Hudson. And we were so excited, but so scared because we had a previous issue. And so
And did you see that on the first ultrasound? Like, how do you find out about a molar
our first
pregnancy?
ultrasound,
Do you go in? Yeah.
I started to have some like speckling of blood in like when I would pee, but it wasn't like bleeding. It was like literally specks. It was very weird, hard to describe. But we went for the ultrasound and it was just like it looked like a bunch of grapes in my
Wow.
uterus. Yeah.
Did you have an MFM with this pregnancy?
No.
Was there any like what happened with the uterus after?
So I had
How was
to
your
go.
shredded uterus?
Were you leaking?
No, it didn't leak. Luckily, they had. I don't know what the
Oh
test
my
is called, but you
God,
go
Paige.
for like a
No.
live scan. I don't know if it was a CAT scan, it wasn't an ultrasound, X-ray, something. But they dilated me and then they flush fluid up into your cervix and then they watch it on the thing go through all your stuff and
It was
everything
all
was
good.
good.
Well,
He sutured me back up good.
turns out he did an okay job.
Dr. Dick.
Doesn't give him excuses.
No.
No.
So yeah, my uterus was fine. But then I had talked to many doctors before trying to get pregnant just because I wanted to make sure that other people felt it was safe, you know,
Yeah.
especially, 10 years later when I'm like, okay, I'm ready. So we get pregnant. I was a little sick in the first trimester and then second trimester, like probably 12 or 13 weeks, I started having some clotting coming out. And my doctor was kind of just like, it can be normal. It also cannot be normal. I think it's probably okay. And so they kind of just brushed it off to, you're just having a little bit of bleeding. Or it could just be like old stuff that's making its way out now. So I was like, okay, you're my doctor, sure. And then at 19 and some change weeks, I had a lot of blood, like first thing in the morning. So I was like, I just want to go to L&D. They checked me, baby was fine.
And what
Sent
hospital
me
is
home.
this?
This is Sutter Roseville.
Okay.
They sent me home after maybe a few hours of, reassuring me everything's okay. And then
I have a question. Having a more mature mind now, because how old are we at this pregnancy?
29.
Did you have any like anxiety, mood disorders? Like, what was that like being pregnant after?
Terrified.
I was thinking like the first gag, I'd probably be terrified. Like if you did gag,
I've been told many times that for me to have another ulcer would be very rare just because of the parts of my stomach and stuff that have been removed.
that's true.
And like I could never have another duodenal ulcer because I don't have
You
a
don't have a
duodenum.
duodenum.
So I had gotten a lot of reassurance that that would probably not happen again, which was good.
Yeah.
But I also knew my doctor was like, he's watching me closely.
Yeah.
So I go for my anatomy scan and it ended up showing placenta previa. So my placenta was low-lying, blocking my cervix, which I was planning to have a C-section anyway. So it wasn't a huge deal. But they were like, maybe that's why you're bleeding. So I'm like, okay. And then I went and saw an MFM to have another repeat ultrasound, essentially another anatomy scan, like 4 weeks later. And he was
Just
like,
because of the previa?
Yeah. And he was like, oh, it looks like it moved up. Like, you should be good. And I was like, well, what about the bleeding? And he was like, well, kind of the same thing, same sentiment as my doctor. It's like, it could just be nothing. Or it could be from that, and it's not a huge deal. There's nothing we can do about it. And I was like, okay. So then 26 weeks, this is the day after Christmas of 2022, December 26th. Me and my husband were home alone and we were building a puzzle, and I went up to go to the bathroom and I went pee, and TMI, but there was like a big stringy, mucousy, clearness hanging. And I was like, that's weird. But didn't really I was like, oh, it's probably just like the bleeding. I'm sure they're going to tell me it's nothing. And the next day we were going to Tracy to my parents' house to celebrate Christmas with my mom's family. And I was like, I'm not emailing my doctor. Like, I don't think it's anything. I'm sure they're gonna tell me it's nothing. And I got bullied into emailing him by my husband and my mom and
I was
my
gonna say
dad.
Dorothea.
Yeah, Dorothea. They're like, just email. And so I was like, okay. And like, probably within 30 minutes, I got a call. And they were like,
Oh, wow.
you need to go see if it's your water that's broken.
Oh, like the sac hanging? I don't know anything about this. Like,
I was just having clear leaking fluid.
okay, I thought it was just like one
No,
long
like
mucus.
I mean that night it was. It
Okay.
was like like you know when people blow snot
Yeah, and it's
rockets? It was coming out of my vagina.
yeah, I can
Get
picture
out
it.
of my vagina.
And so I go in, we leave Tracy, go to Sutter Roseville, straight there, and they do an ultrasound, baby looks fine. And they do an exam to get a sterile swab.
Mm-hmm.
And to get a sterile swab, they have to use a sterile speculum, which I don't know if you've had the pleasure of experiencing, but it has to go in raw.
Yeah, because the
It's
gel
not
will
sterile.
Yep.
mess up with the
And
test.
so the lady comes in and she just shoved it
No.
in fast.
Why?
She was like, I promise you it's better to just have it.
No, it's not actually,
fast.
lady.
You want me to do it to you?
Yeah, come
See
here.
which
We'll do
one
it
you
at the same
prefer.
time.
I told her to take me to dinner first.
There's that sense of
Better
humor.
that it's
But
fast.
I remember yelling. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God. It
Weird,
was not pleasant.
rapish thing to say.
Listen, I was, whatever.
Ooh.
My water was broken.
That's what we
was
found out.
what we found out. My water had ruptured. So I had preterm, premature rupture of membranes and got admitted right then and there. Didn't go home ever again.
And we're 26 and what?
I was almost 27 weeks.
Okay.
I think I turned 27 the next day. So I sent my husband a checklist of things to
So you
go
probably
get
didn't
me.
have things packed.
Nothing.
Not even in your third trimester.
I hadn't even done the nursery.
Oh my gosh.
I hadn't done anything.
No.
Nothing was prepared. So
Was there any infection or
no,
nothing?
I mean not that we know of, but so they immediately gave me betamethasone shot in my booty for baby's lungs, and then I got put on a magnesium drip, which is not pleasant. I felt very heavy and very tired and very out of it, and I had to be on it for almost 48 hours, which is longer than I think normally they do 24.
Wow.
And why did they do the magnesium?
It's for neural support for premature babies, something for their brain, to protect their brain. And then I had IV antibiotics, and I stayed in the hospital for a week. And then
And the plan at this point was keep baby
keep
in.
baby
Everything's
in as
going to be
long
fine.
as every day we would just weigh, okay, is it better, safer in or out? And, they were planning the goal was 34 weeks, but I only made it to 28. So January 2nd, that evening, I started having contractions. And it happened to be the night, I don't know if either of you watch football, but Damar Hamlin died on the field.
Oh.
He went into cardiac
yeah.
arrest. But that was a great distraction. We were
Okay.
watching the game. And so it was, I don't want to say exciting, but it was a good distraction from what is happening to me. And so we're watching that, and I got some injections of terbutaline, which is to stop labor or stop contractions, and it just wasn't working great. It would work for a little, and then they would come back. And so then the next morning, it was the first day my doctor was back. He was gone that whole week that I got admitted. He was
It's
on
Christmas
vacation.
time, yeah.
And what's your due date?
March 21st or 23rd. I think it was the 23rd.
And it's January 2nd.
So now it's January 3rd. My doctor was back, and he I ended up doing my C-section that day. Baby was born.
Wow.
And it was a much more pleasant C-section.
True. Were you awake for it?
I was awake
Did
for
you
it.
feel?
I just felt the pressure,
Great.
as you're supposed to.
You're like, this is what
And it was a lot. It was interesting. The whole table was shaking.
Oh my gosh.
And you think with a smaller baby it was easier, but I guess they're up higher. They haven't descended, and he was transverse.
Oh my gosh.
So they had a little bit of a hard time getting him out.
So wait, you shaking was them
tugging
Oh my
him out. His legs, both of them, were completely bruised. They had to x-ray to make sure he didn't
Oh
have
my
any
gosh.
fractures. Yeah, I was like really shaking.
Yeah. And he's, how much did he weigh?
He weighed 3 pounds, 2 ounces.
They
He
had to
was,
shake a little 3-pound baby.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, not like
I know, but I'm just picturing like
pulling him out.
I mean,
yeah.
you were shaking, so
Yeah.
I'm sure they were very gentle.
But so the talk of the OR was my umbilical cord. Apparently, it was huge,
Like thick?
thick.
Whoa.
Yeah, they were like, "What were you eating, girl?" I was like, "McDonald's."
That's amazing.
No, but he was born and he was breathing okay. He was put on CPAP, which all preemies are put on CPAP. Before I think 32 weeks. That's what they do at that hospital anyways. Just so that they're not burning the extra calories breathing. And he really did so good. He was what they call a feeder grower. And that NICU is amazing. Shout out to all the girls there because they were like my best friends for 2.5 months. I looked forward to not only going to see my baby, but to see my nurses and
That's so important.
gossip with them and just hear the tea. But yeah, it was, such a better experience than my first. And like, of course, it's traumatizing having a baby so early, but like, I was just happy to have, like, I felt good that postpartum. I could be there for my baby. I could provide breast milk and, do all the things that I could do because I felt good.
I can see how, like, the first story, you had no control, like, over your baby's postpartum, like his first few weeks. And then this time, although nobody would wish for this, it was a situation where you got to be in control of, like, pumping and when am I going to come and visit him? I could see how
all
that
the
would
things,
be
I was well
helpful.
enough to care for my baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm taking it all in.
It's a lot to take
It
in.
is.
Yeah.
What about, like, did you have moments of any of the trauma of Blake's birth and just your experience come up at all? Like,
With Hudson?
yeah, because the body remembers, like, even the C-section.
Just when I was getting ready to go for my C-section, I remember telling the anesthesiologist, I had a really horrific experience with my previous C-section. I'm feeling really scared. And he was like, I can give you something before, but you might not remember. And I was like, I want to remember and I want to like be awake and see my baby be born, but I also want to give you the power to, like, if you think that I just need a little something to like help me chill out, like, please just give me something. And so I remember, I think he gave me just a little bit while I was getting my epidural. He gave me, I think, propofol or something just to take the edge off.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
You're one strong woman, Paige.
Thank you.
Seriously. Wow.
Thank you.
So I know we had these like 3 questions planned for the end that we want to hear from all of our interviewees, but I want to ask, as a NICU mom, so one of the questions is like, how did somebody show up for you in postpartum? But specifically with like being a NICU mom, was there anything, because we get that question a lot, like, what can I give to this NICU mom? What could I bring her?
Yeah.
Is there anything?
So my mom had made us Dorothea. She made us a bunch of freezer meals, which was great.
Okay.
It just took, the stress off of my husband and I. Your sister, Emery, was great helping with our dogs.
Yeah.
At the drop of a hat, anytime that we needed her, she was there for us. And same with our friend William and Humna. They, dealt with our smaller dog, which was like such a weight lifted off our shoulders, going through different things or having to be gone for overnight or whatever. Like, we knew that they had the dogs. That was like just one less thing that we had to worry about.
Yeah. I can imagine anything that's not like, you don't want any of your time taken that you could be visiting Hudson.
Or spending time at home with Blake.
Yeah.
Uninterrupted. It was a balancing act for sure. But I think because I had such a big age gap, it was a lot easier than it would have been if I had a toddler.
Yeah.
And then had a baby in the NICU. So in that sense, I felt lucky that he was pretty independent and my husband works from home, so he could stay at home while my husband was working, while I was at the NICU or
Yeah.
whatever, you know, which was nice. Yeah.
And he got to come home at 2.5 months. Is that what you said?
Yeah, he spent 67 days in the NICU. And then we were home for a week, and then he got readmitted.
That's right.
He had pyloric stenosis,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is a whole other story, but so we were back for 5 days and then back home.
And he had the surgery.
He had surgery, yeah. Yep.
Wow. Well, next time, if there is ever a next time, you're not allowed to have any of those things.
Yes, I know. We got to manifest it.
Yes.
A healthy term pregnancy.
Term pregnancy.
So Paige, what would your biggest recommendations be to a mom recovering from a traumatic birth?
Take time for yourself to heal and process. Therapy. Rest, sleep. Take any help that anyone will give you. I'm somebody that I have a hard time taking help from people, but just take it.
Are there any like lies that you told yourself that you have conquered now here to tell the story a decade later?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think that I blacked out a lot of my trauma from my first birth and after birth and all of the crap that I went through after that. And so like some of the things are hard to recall because like I think just to protect myself, my body has just like shut it out. So
It's a beautiful thing that our bodies can do.
it really is. Yeah.
All you remember is the helicopter, right?
And the
And
paramedic.
the hot paramedic.
I even asked my mom after I woke up from being in a coma, I was like, was there a cute paramedic? And she was like, oh my gosh.
She's like, Paige,
Yes,
that's the last thing
there
I was thinking
was,
about.
though. Yes.
That's my daughter. That's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for reliving that.
Of course.
For us.
Thanks for giving me a platform to share.
Yeah. There's so many moms, unfortunately,
I know.
that have come after you or before you, and you're in that club with them that no one wants to be in, but you're a story of strength.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for sharing today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Yay.
Yay.
Cue the outro music.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on Girly Pop Birth Talks, where we hold space for the messy and meaningful journey of becoming her.
If today's story moved you, made you laugh, or reminded you of your own strength, we would love it if you subscribed, shared the episode, and left us a quick review.
We're so glad you were here.
Seriously, you're one of us now.
We can't wait to do this again soon.